In this part 2 video of Movie Curator Shelf Club, I put together the second part of my comedy classics shelf. Hey, it's me, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another edition of Movie Curator Shelf Club as well. This is part 2 of the comedy classics shelf I'm putting together, and the first part of this video, if you're not checked it out or check it out already, it's a really fun video, and I was really happy with the outcome of the first part of this comedy classics shelf. So I'm basically putting together a shelf full of my favourite comedy movies, and I think some of the notable ones in the first shelf were like movies like This Is Spinal Tap, Dumb and Dumber, Anchorman, some great movies on there. But I've got to complete this shelf. I've got to curate this shelf to completion, and I'm really looking forward to it. You've got to control your collection in Movie Curator Shelf Club, so I've got to complete and curate this collection today, and I've got some really good comedy classic movies to finish this shelf off with me here. So let's get this shelf completed, ladies and gents. Let's get to it. So the next movie to join the comedy classic shelf is Meet the Parents, starring Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller. And this is honestly a really, really funny movie. Over 20 years old now, 2001 it's saying here on the back of this. Basically the story is, Ben Stiller's character has got to go and meet his girlfriend's parents. He doesn't know anything about them, and it turns out the father, played by Robert De Niro's character, he's like an ex-CIA guy, and basically he's got all these secrets, and you see it all unfold within the story, and he's very protective of his daughter, and it is just a really, really funny movie. Again, I said this with like Jim Carrey, Ben Stiller, definitely two of my favourite comedy actors, and I think this is probably up there as Ben Stiller's best film. I really do think this is a really funny film, and yeah, it's a really great. It's had two sequels after this: Meet the Fockers and what is the third one's called? Little Fockers as well. Really funny movies, all three of them. Definitely, this one though is the best one out of that. It's the best of the bunch for me, and Meet the Parents is going on the comedy classic shelf, and I'm really happy it is. Now, the next movie to join the shelf is the sequel to Meet the Parents, and it is the movie Meet the Fockers. The movie starring, all the original cast, Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller, but you're adding in the Barbra Streisand and Dustin Hoffman as the parents of Ben Stiller's character. Now, I will say in advance, I'm not featuring in Little Fockers on this comedy classic shelf. I do have that in the collection. It's gone into like my big black folder where I just keep movies like without the cases in there, because even though I think that's a funny movie, I think the first two are certainly the best of the three, and I'm more I'm happy to leave the third movie not on the shelf because I don't think it is really a comedy classic movie. I think the first two though are really, really funny, and I think one thing I really forgot from the first movie, the first movie is a lot like the jokes with the cat and stuff like that, and with the urn and stuff like that, and there's just loads of really good set piece comedy moments in there, and this one's no different. I think a lot of the stuff with for instance the baby in this, the use of the baby where he's does the swear words, and Ben Stiller's character is trying to minding the grandson of Robert De Niro's character, and he teaches him a swear word by accident, and then little things like that are really funny, little moments in this. But I think it's a great cast. Dustin Hoffman, Barbra Streisand were really great additions to this franchise, I think, and they really fit in well with the rest of the cast. But yeah, it's a really funny movie, and basically they go to the family residence of the Ben Stiller's family, the Fockers family, and it's them visiting them, and you just see obviously they clash massively. Where Dustin Hoffman's character is really this loving, lively character, whereas Robert De Niro's character is very stoic at times, very serious, and it doesn't really gel with Dustin Hoffman's character. It's kind of like Dustin Hoffman versus Robert De Niro's character in this, and it's a really funny movie, really great cast, and a really good comedy classics movie. Joining the shelf, and I'm really happy it is. Next up, joining the comedy classic shelf is Alan Partridge in Alpha Papa. This is the spin-off movie of the popular Alan Partridge TV show. I know there was quite a few different incarnations of the Alan Partridge TV show. I remember I didn't watch the original one, but it was like the one where he's in the hotel, and then I think they did the 2 series. Is I'm Alan Partridge? I always forget what they're called, but basically, this is the movie spin-off of that character, the radio DJ of Norwich FM. I think it's at Norwich FM. I think there's a different radio station on this one actually, but Steve Coogan plays Alan Partridge, the radio DJ, and it's just basically him on this. They've got this new radio station taking over in the story, and they're trying to get rid of like all of the senior staff members, the senior cast of the radio, and basically there's this really mad story, crazy story that goes into this like road adventure, which is it's a really fun story, and a really decent story as well. Good comedy film. But basically, it says here on the cover, 12 hostages, 24 hours. Basically, to sum it up, one of the ex-radio hosts gets a gun and he takes them all hostage, all the staff members, and Partridge is like in this hostage situation with this radio host, and then it goes on to like this bit of like this road adventure at the end. It's really a fun movie, and I think maybe this is something that doesn't like translate as much across like America, Canada. I don't know, maybe if you're in Canada, America, Australia, let me know what your thoughts are. Are you aware of Alan Partridge, Steve Coogan? Is it a character you're like fully aware of? Maybe it's not as popular in across the seas as it is in the UK, but I think Alan Partridge in the UK, most people would know that character, and I think it was maybe it wasn't like a big box office winner movie, but like not many comedies are, but I think it done decent enough, and I think it's a really solid effort as a Partridge movie, as a spin-off of a BBC character. And I really like this movie. I think it's a really good movie. Another Steve Coogan movie on the shelf as well of comedy classics. Really pleased this one is entering the shelf. The next movie to join the comedy classic shelf is Old School. And this movie stars Luke Wilson, Will Ferrell and Vince Vaughn. An early 2000s movie, and probably one of the first movies I really seen Will Ferrell, and I just thought this guy really cracks me up. It's basically these 3 guys, and they start a fraternity, in, is it a fraternity they call it? A fraternity? You can tell, or is it a fraternity? That's what we call it, not a or it's a fraternity. You can see, it doesn't translate over here in the UK. But basically, they start this university club, boys club, and then this within the story they have to then take exams, or loads of these younger students who join this fraternity will lose their place in the university, and it's a wild movie. They get this house, this property, basically in the story. Luke Wilson's character, this is where they start because it's a campus property, and they start this fraternity. They have loads of these mad parties, get well known. And the exploits in the end up getting them bad sort of like a bad reputation with the campus, and that's where they have to then force them to do these exams and stuff. And it's just a really funny movie. I think the stars of this movie though is Will Ferrell. He has got some absolute hilarious scenes in this movie. The one scene in mind I have is where they get Snoop Dogg to come and play at this house for a house party. And look, I'll be honest, I don't know any of Snoop Dogg's songs. I only know him off the Just Eat advert. That's all I know him from. And maybe because he's Sasha Banks, the WWE superstar's cousin. But Snoop Dogg is a name that is in this movie, and he's rapping, and he's doing like a big stage show at his house, big concert. And then Will Ferrell's character doesn't drink, and he starts drinking with all these young guys. And then he's like, "Oh, I've one drink," and he's like throwing the shots down and stuff. And then he ends up going on stage with Snoop Dogg, and he strips off naked, and he's just like trying to dance along with Snoop Dogg. He disturbs the concert, and he's like, "Come on guys, let's go running through the town," and he just runs through the town naked then, and it's just a really funny scene. And then basically his wife catches him on the roadside. Really funny, just a laugh, really laugh. I think this is not really suitable for kids though, I would say this in advance. It is a 15, There's definitely scenes in this. This is not a kid-friendly movie, I would say that in advance. So don't be letting young kids watch this. But it's a really funny movie, and that is Old School. The next movie to join the comedy classic shelf is Me, Myself and Irene, another Jim Carrey movie. I think this was another Farrelly Brothers movie, I believe so. Yes, it was a Farrelly Brothers. That's a hard one to say for me, anyway. This one stars Jim Carrey and Renee Zellweger, and basically this movie is, Jim Carrey's character is this, happy guy, and his marriage breaks down early in the movie, and then you fast forward 20 years or 15 years later or whatever, and basically he has a mental breakdown, and he has he finds out he suffers from a split personality disorder. I think it might be some form of schizophrenia they say in this story he suffers from, and basically he has an alter ego called Hank, who's this really defying character, who's this rebel character, whereas the other character in this, he is more sensible, kind-hearted gentleman, and basically he's this Rhode Island patrolman. He's this cop guy, and he goes on this road trip with Renee Zellweger's character. He has to take her to this other town because she's a witness for a crime, basically, and it's a really a good road movie. And I think if you like Dumb and Dumber, I think you're gonna like this. I think it's a really up there with a Dumb and Dumber, maybe not on the level of Dumb and Dumber, but it's definitely up there on that same level of comedy. For me, definitely Me, Myself and Irene, a really, really funny movie. The next movie to join the comedy classics shelf is Ted, from the creator of Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane. We have Mark Wahlberg in there as well, Mila Kunis. Obviously, Seth MacFarlane, the creator of this, also the voice of the teddy bear Ted in this. Basically, it's this teddy bear comes to life for this kid when he's a child, and then we see them years later, and the same kid grows up, and it's Mark Wahlberg's character. And it's, this is an adult movie. This is not a teddy bear movie for a kid. This is an adult movie. There's a lot of jokes. If you watch Family Guy, you're getting a very much similar comedy. But I like Family Guy. I think it's great comedy. And yeah, I think this is the comedy from that just translates to this excellently. It really is a funny movie. I don't think the sequel is anywhere near as good. I remember watching the sequel and thinking, this is really bad. The first movie, though, is a really good solid comedy, 10 out of 10 comedy. Ted, I think if you like Family Guy, you're gonna like Ted, and yeah, I'm really happy that this is going on the comedy classics shelf. The next movie joining the shelf is Johnny English, starring Ronan Atkinson, obviously well known for playing Mr. Bean, and basically this is a James Bond spoof movie, a spy spoof movie, basically, similar to your Austin Powers. British spy movie though, Johnny English, he's just basically kind of like Mr. Bean becoming a spy. His character is very similar to Mr. Bean. He gets thrown into being a spy basically, and it's just a really silly movie. I've always enjoyed Ronan Atkinson. I think the only thing I've not enjoyed of Ronan Atkinson is Blackadder. I never got into Blackadder. Maybe I should give it a bit more time, but I really like Mr. Bean, and I think in Johnny English, I think he is just really silly, really silly. There's some really great scenes in this, and there's so many great scenes in this one. I really do like this. I think at the end when he's getting crowned and he gets the crown put on his head and they anoint him as the king, and it's just it's so silly, just moments like that. And yeah, it's just there's some great scenes throughout this. I think, is it Natalie Imbruglia, the singer? She is in this, and it's got John Malkovich in this as well. Really solid cast as well. And yeah, Johnny English, really good comedy movie. So now the final movie to go on the comedy classic shelf is the Inbetweeners movie. That's right, the Inbetweeners movie. It says here the UK's #1 comedy, and really this is a solid comedy. Yeah, if you don't know, the Inbetweeners, it was basically a Channel 4 TV show here in the UK. It ran for, I think it was for 3 seasons, 3 series it ran for in the UK. And basically, it was so popular, they ended up making a feature film of it. And this was the feature film, the Inbetweeners movie. It had a sequel as well, but I think For me, I think the first movie is definitely the best. I think the second one's okay, but the first one is just so funny, and I really like this. It's basically, you know, these lads, they go on a lad's holiday, four of these lads, and they're not like the most popular of guys. They're kind of, as the film title says, you know, the in-between. They're like the in-between of like the, you know, if maybe you'd have like the nerds, and then you'd have like the popular kids in like an American high school, or whatever it is in like in a teenage comedy movie. These are the in-between bunch, you know, the in-betweeners in this high school sort of like a tower of popularity. And, you know, they go on this lad's holiday, and it's just, you know, some really great moments, really funny moments. I think when they go in the club scene, that is a really funny moment. I think maybe it's like when they arrive at the airport and they've got all like these t-shirts on saying something quite, maybe what would be deemed rude, I suppose, and I won't say it on this video, but, you know, check it out, you'll know what I'm on about. But yeah, the Inbetweeners movie, a really, really fun comedy, and I think if you like the TV show, you'll like this movie, definitely, for sure. Really good British comedy, and I think this is a movie that did really well worldwide as well. I think it had a really popular fan base worldwide, the Inbetweeners, as far as I know. But yeah, I'm really happy that this is going onto the shelf, and it's the final movie to complete the Comedy Classics shelf. So there we have it, the Comedy Classics shelf is now complete, and I think overall, I mean, I'm looking at part 2 here, you know, the Inbetweeners, another great addition to this shelf. Me, Myself, and Irene, a great one from the Farrelly brothers. I can't say that word. I need to practice on saying that name. But yeah, that's another great one. The Meet the Parents, them two movies, really solid ones. I think just overall though, I can look at that Comedy Classics collection now and I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy like with the first part of the shelf, you know, transferring the Dumb and Dumber movie over from the Cinema Classics shelf. I think that was a wise choice as well. And I'm really happy with this collection I've curated of Comedy Classics movies. I'm really pleased with how it's all come together. If you enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like and check out the rest of the movie related content on the channel, and let me know your thoughts on this Comedy Classics shelf. Do you think I got the Comedy Classics shelf right? The right selection of all these movies? Did I do well? What would have been your choices for this shelf? What would have been some of your favourites that I've maybe not put on this shelf, not had in this collection? And let me know what would be on your Comedy Classics shelf, ladies and gents. Let me know all your thoughts on this video. Before I go, I've got three final words for you, ladies and gents. Control your collection. I'll see you next time.